Welcome to Four Dudes Barbecue. Welcome to Four Dudes Barbecue.
You guys ready?
Yeah!
Let's get cooking.
Yeah, let's get cooking.
Hey guys, JD here with Four Dudes Barbecue. I was recently challenged by a viewer to come up with a vegetarian option for our Weber kettle, and I came up with a few good ideas. Smoked garden salad?
No!
Smoked toast?
No!
Smoked can of corn?
No!
Although those first three ideas didn't make the cut, I ended up coming up with a pretty good idea for a meatloaf, and it was so good, I made it two ways. Stay tuned. Pull up a chair, grab a cold one. Let's enjoy this Four Dudes Barbecue.
Didi, this one is for you. Yeah.
Alright guys, here's our fourth attempt at a vegetarian barbecue dish. Meatloaf, two ways. I'm going to use Gardein beefless crumbles in one half of my meatloaf dish, and then a puree of chickpea and vegetable stock in the second half of my meatloaf. I'm going to cook it all in one pan, and then smoke it on the Weber kettle, and it's good. Alright, so we're going to mix up the basically base ingredients for both mixtures. What I have in this bowl is 2 pieces of toast with some milk. I crushed it up until it's smooth and made like a puree out of it. What I'm going to add to this is a mixture of some sauteed onions, about a whole onion or 3/4 of an onion, and 8 ounces of mushrooms. I used baby bells, cut them up, sauteed them until they were nice and soft. I also added about a tablespoon of garlic, stir that around. I'm going to incorporate 2 whole eggs. Stir it up. We're going to add some kosher salt, some pepper, and then some liquid. This is going to keep that meatloaf nice and moist. I don't want to lose any moisture just because we're not using meat. There's no fat in this. So I have some Worcestershire sauce, a couple glugs, some A1 sauce. It's going to give it a nice meatiness flavor that we're missing maybe from the vegetarian option, and then some ketchup. So mix that around. Okay, in one tin I'm going to add our Gardein crumbles. I drained a lot of the moisture off, or the liquid, so we're going to put back into it's really going to help. So we'll take about half of this, pour it in, and mix it up. And with this Gardein, it's about half a bag. So I made 2 meatloaves out of this, or you can make a whole one out of this size tray with the whole bag. And for this chickpea puree, it's just 1 small can. I'm going to add the rest of this, and grab another spoon and mix it up. Okay, so I got both halves of my meatloaf thoroughly mixed. Now what I'm going to do is pour half in one side and half in the other one, and then we're going to stuff this with some sauteed spinach and some Kobe Jack cheese. So I'm going to pour about half, maybe about 3/4, making sure to keep it right in the middle. It's thick enough to where it'll stay, but you're still going to have to work a little bit quick. And then we're going to use our Gardein on this side. And if they overlap, it's no big deal. We're not worried about cross-contamination. There's no meat. We don't have to hit, a certain temperature for one side and certain for the other. The Gardein does recommend cooking to 165 degrees, and when I cooked it, I found that temperature, 165, 170, was perfect because the meatloaves actually began to solidify at that temp, and then we let them cool for a little bit, and the texture was just like regular meatloaf. So I have my 2 meats, my meatless varieties, and what I'm going to do is add some some cheese logs that I cut up, about 3 per side. Then I have some sauteed spinach. I'll put it right on top. You can add as much spinach or cheese or less onion, more garlic. This is a very versatile dish. So now over the other top of the chickpea puree, I'm going to cover that spinach and cheese. And with the Gardein mixture, same thing. Cover that up. Now, these are vegetarian options, but you could certainly make this a vegan option if you substituted the cheese with the vegan cheese. I had to find a new binder for the egg and left the milk out. I'm no expert, but I got a challenge, and this certainly fits the bill. Now what I'm going to do, as you can see, it makes a pan perfect with the 2 different sides. So if you were to double each one, you can make one whole pan here. I'm going to add ketchup to the top. It's very similar to a version I make with turkey meatloaf. Now what I have here is my Weber kettle. I got it with maybe about 3/4 of a chimney using those Weber baskets. This is going to cook for about 30-35 minutes at about 350 to 400. And then we're going to check the temp for that 165, 170 just to make sure the Gardein we meet those recommendations on the package. And then we'll be back when this is all cooked. Oh, lastly, I'm going to use a little bit of pecan wood for some smoke. It's a nice versatile wood, nice and sweet for the taste. Doesn't overpower this meatloaf dish. We'll see you back in a little bit. So we just put our meatloaf on the barbecue. I just want to show you guys what it looks like. Nice and consistent with those textures. There's our Weber basket. The pecan wood's just starting to burn, so we're going to close up the lid, let it smoke. And this will get a nice crust on the top. Subtle smoke. We don't want too much to overpower this, but we'll be back. Alright guys, we just hit 170 on our thermopen, and you can see it's nice and golden brown. Got some juices coming out. No fat, but just the juices of the mixture inside. So I'm going to pull this off, let it rest for about 10 minutes. It's going to help, solidify this a little bit. That way when you cut it up, it's going to look and feel more like a traditional meatloaf. So let's let it cool and we'll be back. Alright, so we've let our meatloaf rest for about 10 minutes, and take a look. I mean, it's beautiful. It's got nice color. That ketchup is, hardened on the top. It's got a good little crust. You can smell a little bit of that pecan wood. Now, you could let it go a little bit longer. As far as resting it. That way it's just a little tighter when you break it apart. But we're going to go for it. I'm going to go with the Gardein version. That's the one I prefer. My wife likes the chickpea one, so I'll save that one for her. Let me see, we'll cut it up. You should see an ooey gooey mess here. Okay, here it is. Pulling it out. See that melted cheese, that spinach in there? Like I said, if you let it rest a little bit longer, you'll get a little more of that solid meat texture. I mean, cheese is melted. Let me pull this out of the way. You can see that. I mean, that is awesome. For any meat lover who's looking to try a vegetarian dish, maybe once or twice out of the week just for a healthier option, this meatloaf is a go-to. So let's try it out. It's still hot. I mean, you cannot tell it's not meat. Those mushrooms add a nice heartiness. All those seasonings work together. It's not dry. It's what I was afraid of when I thought about doing a vegetarian dish. Without any fat, where's the moisture going to be in this food? It's great. I really hope you try it. Give that vegetarian dish an option. Now with this chickpea one, I tried it last time I made it. It is a little bit more robust as far as that earthiness from the chickpeas. My wife loves it. I like this meat version a lot better, but they're both delicious. So give it a try. Alright guys, let's recap this cook. Vegetarian meatloaf cooked two ways. One with Gardein beefless ground, and the other one with a chickpea and vegetable stock puree. Now the vegetable stock and chickpea puree is a little bit more for the adventurous type. It has an earthier taste than the beefless ground, but then again, it is still good. But if someone's a little hesitant about trying a vegetarian option, maybe stick with the Gardein version first, and then jump them into the more extreme version of that chickpea puree. Now, I hope you guys liked the cook. If you did, please subscribe, make a comment. I'm always looking to try new things, so if you have any suggestions or want to see me cook something, please put it in the comments. Have a great day.